A pleasure to be with you again, and a pleasure to be with some old friends that I see, that I recognize, and with new friends. So, as you said, I'm a rabbi and a psychologist and a mindfulness facilitator, and that's where I operate from. When I do rabbinical work, I bring a lot of psychology and mindfulness, and when I do psychology work with my patients, with my clients, I bring a lot of Jewish wisdom and mindfulness too. So I live in that intersection. So this is where I'm going to be talking from. And we are working on the tools that we have in our spiritual DNA to deal with disaster. And we have to tackle into this toolkit that we all have. So I hope that everybody has a piece of paper and a pen. So let's see, if you don't have a piece of paper and a pen, this is a moment to pick it up. So it's okay to please go to some place and pick up a piece of paper and a pen. That will be very, very helpful for you to be with me in this moment. And while some of you are going to pick up the piece of paper and a pen, we enter into the dimension of the soul with the nigun. And remember, what is a nigun? It's not a worthless melody. It's not a melody without words. It's a melody, as Rabbi Zeller used to teach. It's a melody in search of its words. It's a melody that goes inside of us and regulates ourselves and brings a kind of neshama yetera, an additional soul, a spirit inside of us. That's why nigunim have like a spiritual effect on us. So I invite you to allow the nigun to go inside of you, to ask you, how are you? You know, the music to ask you, how are you? And you respond from the Khatimat Emet, from the seal of truth, wherever you are, don't change it. And allow the nigun to be like a soothing bath, to bring some calm and some relaxation to any part of your body or soul where you are, because there is enough reasons why to be. So let's use the nigun as a tool from our tradition to bring us some peace and calm. Ya ra ra ya ya, ya ra ra, ya ra ra ra, ya ra ra ya ra, ya ra ra ya ra ra, ya ra ra ya ra ra, ya ra ra. Ya ra ra, ya ya ra, ya ra ra, ya ra ra, ya ra, ya ra ra, ya ra ra, ya ra ra, ya ra, ya ra ra, ya ra ra, ya ra ra, ya ra. Ya ra ra ra, ra ra ya ya ra, ya ra ra ra, ya ra ra ya ya, ya ra ra ra. So welcome again. Last week, we spoke about the relationship that we have with the first pasuk, the first line of the Torah, the Tohu Vavohu, the void, the emptiness, the chaos, and how chaos is part of our creation, and how choshech, darkness, is part of our creation. And we pay attention to the second part of the verse, Veruach Elohim, and the Spirit of God, which means that the chaos, void, darkness lives inside of us, and it's not but and parallel to that, the Ruach Elohim, which means the hope, the strength, the capacity to look at the light of the end of the tunnel. So we work on that. I am now in chapter 2. Okay, I'm chapter 2. And it's a very, very controversial pasuk, verse, for the moments we are living in. And in general, it's controversial because of gender issues. Vayomer Elohim lo tov heyot adam levado, e'aseh lo ezer kenegdo. And God says, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make a fitting helper for him. That's the politically incorrect translation, okay? Because it's about the creation of women. I'm going to give you another translation. It's not good for Adam, which is a human being, to be alone. Let's make a helper that is there to confront that person. Kenegdo, in front of, mirroring. You want to know that second part? Next week. This time we're going to be only in the first part. What does it mean? Vayomer Elohim lo tov heyot adam levado. It's not good for the human being to be alone in this moment of COVID-19. So there's a mitzvah. There's a commandment. It's not good to be alone. It's not good to be apart from each other. So are we breaking a mitzvah? How do we deal with this? And the tradition is making something that we know, that is obvious. It is good to drink water. Drink your water. It's like obvious. We don't even have to say that. But it's not obvious. We are social animals. So the Torah is saying, we find yourself through the relationship with the other. Martin Buber created a whole theology out of this, the I-thou. In the I-thou, in that space between the two, God is found. So relationships, to be together, is crucial to a human existence. What is interesting is the expression, lo tov. It's not good. And this tov is introduced before in the story of creation, at the end of the story of creation. At the end of the story of creation, before Shabbat, when Shabbat is declared, it says, Vayar Elohim et kol asher asa, ve'ine tov me'od. Vayere vayevoker yom hashishi. And God saw everything that God was created, and was very good. Not only tov me'od, was very good. So the good is introduced with the concept of contemplation. God stopped, looked, and said, wow, this is awesome. What I just created is incredible. Wow. I'm going to have a day to contemplate it. I'm going to call it Shabbat. It's a free flow translation of this, but this was given to me by a bar mitzvah kid, and I loved it. So God is saying, wow, this is great. Yeah, tov me'od. Tov me'od. So let's understand there is a tension between chapter 2 and chapter 1 in this tov velo tov. And the tov, the good, is very good. And lo tov is not good. Not good to be alone. So what does it mean, lo tov heyot adam levado, during social distancing? What does it mean? It's not good. We have to, but it's not good to be alone when we are forced to be alone. And here I bring another very important concept, which is Havdalot. You know, we have the Havdalah service, Saturday night or after any holiday. We make a distinction, a differentiation between Shabbat and the rest of the week, between Pesach and the rest of the week, between Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and the rest of the week. There is a difference between sacred time and regular time and working time. So the concept of Avdalot is saying to us, not everything is the same. Which the Lot Tov is in essence, I'm just elaborating here, the Lot Tov is in essence, what we have to do, let's understand that in principle is not good. It's not good for our spirit, it's not good for our mind, but it is good for Pikuach Nefesh, which is saving the life. And Pikuach Nefesh in the Jewish tradition, saving a life, overrides any other mitzvah. So we have to do it. If with that, we have to do something that is not good. In principle, if there is a better good. You understand how this operates? There's a better good, which is saving a life. But it's not good spiritually. So we are in that conundrum between good and not good. And I bring this, Rev Zalman, Alav Shalom, a dear and beloved teacher. Rev Zalman Shechter Shalomi, I don't know how many of you know about him. I invite you to get acquainted with his teachings, with his books. Thank God everything is online. Conversations are on YouTube. Books you can download electronically. A really great master teacher who really was a Chabad Rebbe who went out together with his dear friend Shlomo Karlebach when they were kids to go to the campuses. And Rev Zalman later created what is called the Renewal Movement. So he has this psycho-spiritual, neo-mystic understanding of things. But Rev Zalman has a teaching that for me was transformative. And it sounds funny because he was very funny. He always said, listen to this, the soul is like tofu. I call it his tofu teaching. The soul is like tofu, meaning doesn't taste anything. The soul tastes depending the marinade that you put the soul in. There is a juice, there is a marinade that you put the soul in. And that's the taste that the soul is going to take. And now we are landing towards what is good and what is not good. And now I'm going to ask you to meditate with me, to do a little bit of spiritual work, okay? So have your pieces of paper there. We're not going to use it immediately, but in 5 minutes, okay? And I'm going to invite you to sit in a position that is with your back straight, if you can, in a position that conveys dignity and commitment to do the work. We close our eyes because closing our eyes help us to go to the called Mamadaka, to the small still voice of the soul, to the neshama, to the shoresh and neshama, to the root of our soul. Help us to go to the interior. I invite you for a few minutes to pay attention to your breathing. Just pay attention to your breath coming in and out. And thoughts are going to pump into your head, because that's what the mind does. There's going to be judgment. The comparative mind is going to operate the programmatic, the warrior, the concern. All it's okay. Just notice and come back to your breath. Come back to your breath 1 in a million times. Visualize yourself in a place in nature that brings you peace, tremendous sense of peace and joy. And God had created the world. Says, wow, this is awesome. Bring to your attention that place and visualize yourself there. In this place that you love, that even gives you goosebumps looking at it. Like God had goosebumps looking at the world for the first time. Re'ine tov me'od. It was so good. So good. And in your visualization there in that place in nature, imagine that you have 2 pieces of paper. We're not going to write yet, okay? Just 2 pieces of paper. One that says lo tov, not good. And the other one that says tov me'od, very good. And from this place of no judgment, loving embrace, awesomeness, allow your imagination, not with your hands yet, allow your imagination to write the things that you are doing that are a lot of, not good, for the soul, for the marinade of your soul. Where you're pushing your soul into things that are maybe addictive, negative, depressive, generator of anxiety, anger. What are the things? Maybe what is it? Too much TV? Too much online? So just allow the imagination, not your hand yet, to put in that piece of paper the things that you are doing, that you know that you're doing, that are not good for your soul in this moment. Don't judge whatever comes up and is written in that piece of paper. Do not engage. Do not engage with the feelings that generate. If the soul is put in a marinade every day, what is the marinade that you're putting your soul into that helps in the anxiety department, in the fear department, in the lotov department? Allow your imagination to write with honesty, with the truth. Because we are all addicted. We're all seduced by things that are not good for us. It's part of the human condition. Now with our eyes closed, we say thank you. Thank you to the imagination. And we go to the piece of paper that says Tov Me'od, very good. And allow your imagination to write things that are very good for you in this moment. Whatever it is, maybe you're listening to music that is good for you, books, making phone calls that you haven't made before, talking to people who are good for you. I don't know. Just look whatever comes up in the Tov Me'od, in the contemplation of the, wow, this is so good. And with this, I'm helping myself in the hope department, in the resilient department, in the strength department. Just look to whatever comes up. Don't judge it. Now very slowly visualize yourself where you are, at home, with a piece of paper in front of you. And when you open your eyes, divide the piece of paper in two and put in one side Lotov, L-O-T-O-V, Lotov, not good. And in the other part, Tov Me'od, very good. And write whatever your awareness brought to you of the things that you're doing that are not helpful for your soul in this moment, in the Lotov category. Just write it down. And now go to the Tov Me'od, to the very good. What are the things that you are doing that are really good for your neshama? And you could reshape, polish, highlight, bring to the front burner, and things that are percolating in your neshama, waiting for you to realize that are good. Hey, you remember you used to love to do puzzles? I don't know. In the Lotov department, there are maybe things waiting for you to pay attention. They are good for your soul. That brings you calm, gives you hope, gives you strength. So to finish, just you can pay attention to me and that you keep writing. You know, there are two categories. They're very helpful that come from the Torah. I give you another piece of Torah that was given to me by a 12-year-old girl in her conversations with me for her bat mitzvah. After talking about the book of Bereshit and all these family problems that are there. And she said to me, so really the Torah is a mirror. I said, you got it. You got it. It's a mirror to the soul. for us to have an invitation to go higher, go deeper, to live a life of purpose, of meaning. So I gave you two categories that look very simple, very simple. Tov, lo tov, tov me'od. But it takes courage to pay attention to what is it that I'm doing that is not good. It takes a critical mind with compassion to say, I should stop this. Because to be watching news until 11 p.m. or whatever, it's driving me crazy. Because it's an addiction. Whatever that is. Change, my friends, it's a courageous act of radical imagination. Change is a courageous act of radical imagination. We have to be able to imagine that something else is possible. And that takes work.